Welcome back, guys. We're going to be talking about unique design.
Yes, this is one of the 3 pillars that we explore in the Metanoia Catholic Academy. It's free. You can actually go download that app right now over in the App Store. So check that out. We've got our temperaments assessment, a lot of great free resources available for you to start exploring these 3 pillars. But today, like Aaron said, it's going to be focused on this unique design pillar. You're
definitely going to want to stick around for this because I know we've talked about unique design a lot in the past, but this is a brand new episode and we're talking about why you need to be exploring your unique design and the benefits of that. And I'm going to give you a little key before we go in there. If you want to stop feeling so exhausted in your life, come and join us
in this episode.
That's my hook.
All right. See you guys in there. Hey, welcome back to the Catholic Coaching Podcast. We're talking mission today.
Nope, we're not. Keep it rolling.
Wrong.
We talked mission last week. This week, we're talking about unique design.
I've been dreaming about the 3 pillars over these last couple of days as we've been putting the finishing touches on our new academy, you guys, and I've just been like writing about mission, design, battle, all this stuff. So pardon my confusion here, but we are talking unique design pillar today.
Yes.
Okay. Why is this important? Why do we even explore this, Aaron?
Well, first of all, okay, we have talked about this quite a few times.
Sure.
Unique design. But one thing that we've recently done is kind of just really brainstorm on like, why is this helpful? Why has this helped us in our lives? Why has unique design, coming to know our unique design and these elements of unique design, these points of awareness of unique design, why has this been helpful?
And I've seen it. I've seen the fruits, but I've not put it into as concise words as we're about to put into right now. So, okay, I love this.
Yeah. So basically, I think if you are feeling exhausted because you feel like you need to be everything for everyone in your life, whether it's at a job, whether it's in your vocation, your spouse, your kids, whatever, you have to be everything for everyone in your life. Meanwhile, your real talents and gifts are going underutilized or completely ignored or resisted in some way.
Or you don't even know what they are.
Yeah. Or just you're feeling tired because you're like spending so much energy and effort trying to be that everything for everyone.
Yeah.
You know? And at the same time, you're also feeling inadequate because you're comparing yourself to other people and you're going, there's like one right way to be or to operate, to be a mother, to be a spouse, to be an entrepreneur,
to be a Catholic,
to be
holy.
a Catholic.
Goodness.
There's one right way. There's like this thought, and we've seen this like across the board. There is one right way to do this, and I don't know, the part of me that is like loves variety. I'm like, no, you're believing a lie. There isn't one right way to do this. Obviously, we're not saying
wrong.
Be immoral, right? But we're saying there's like we take that morality and we expand it over like every element.
Yes.
And that is not.
There's so many ways to reveal God.
The Lord
loves infinite amount of ways to reveal who God is and the beauty of God.
And by the way, if you ever even question that the Lord loves variety, watch any National Geographic documentary. You know, like those weird creatures that live at the bottom of the ocean that no human is ever going to see until National Geographic films it. You're like, oh wow, the Lord just created this because He loves variety.
Yeah,
like such a weird creature. It's like glows in the dark and really colorful. Anyway. Back to what I was saying, there isn't one right way to be or to operate. Sans.
Enter unique design.
No.
Sans.
Like actual morality, right? There's right and wrong. I'm not saying that. I am saying that there is right and wrong. However, the way that we live in those moral decisions, that is open to variety.
Yes, there's a lot of opportunity and for being very creative within those boundaries of natural, moral, divine law.
Yes.
Cool.
Freedom. Okay, so unique design answers all of those things. And really it's not that like that's not an extensive list of what unique design covers. But if you want results like this, you want to discover where you fit in the body of Christ. If you want to stop comparing yourself to everyone about everything, if you want to be able to communicate to others, this is how you get the best out of me. I love that. If you want to be able to communicate that to others and even have a language to communicate where your gifts and your strengths lie and also your weaknesses and your limitations.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I am not good with numbers. So if you are waiting for me to do your taxes, it's never going to happen.
Or it's going to take a long time and it's going to be fraught with lots of errors.
And lots of resentment because I am not good at that.
Yeah.
Right. And also to be able, if you want to be able to recognize your contribution and know that your contribution is irreplaceable and unique in the world, if you want to know what sustains you and what motivates you, if you want to know the conditions and the environments that drain you and also those conditions and environments that actually build you up and get the best out of you.
Fully alive. Yeah.
If you want your yes to mean yes and your no to mean no, and to be able to even decide, like make those decisions and say like, yeah, okay, this is, you're not going to get the best out of me because I'm really not that good at that. But I am going to say yes to you because you don't have anybody else here, right? Or that can, so to be able to, I guess, critically think about where you're giving your yes to.
Yeah, that sounds like a very humble way of delivering your yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like spend more time doing what you do best.
That's my favorite part.
Oh, that's so awesome. When I realized I was like a talent of mine, I could say, or a gift of mine and a contribution is coaching. Like, oh my gosh, I just need to spend more time doing that.
Yeah, it's not selfish. It's not selfish to desire to do what you do best. I mean, especially when it's and there's always a reciprocal gift that comes back and a satisfaction, that meaning that's there that you experience from operating in what you do best. But it's also a place of great contribution and great self-gift. As a mature Christian, the full flowering of the Christian is when they become that self-gift, that mature self-gift. And part of that is going through this process of naming, claiming, taming, and aiming your unique design, which is a big focus of what we do in the Academy and why it's one of our 3 pillars.
Yeah. And finally, this is my favorite reason why.
Do it, babe.
It's get more or do more with less effort, right?
Yeah.
Do more with less. I love that maximizing like concept. It's like maximize your efforts because you're actually doing more with less.
Yeah.
When you're living in your contributions and your strengths and you're kind of, I don't know, like asking other people to fill in those areas of limitations and weaknesses, like you actually can maximize your impact.
Yeah, you maximize your relationships, and it's something where you really come into relationship when you're living in this unique design.
Amen.
I've and you can look at unique design as a way that and take it away where you're just looking at it in a navel gazing sort of way, an indulgent sort of way, where it's absent of a relationship with the Lord.
It doesn't make sense though that way.
It really doesn't make sense.
No.
It implodes and it doesn't lead to the fruits that we're just talking about here. But when you look at this as like, wow, these are gifts that I have. These are gifts and talents that I have. And God has given them to me. Even the weaknesses that I have, God has given those to me. Why? Because He wants me to use those to draw into a deeper relationship with Him, but also with the rest of the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And we start to enter into those relationships. We start to really realize what it means to be human, to be in relationship. Guys, like this is a foretaste of the beatific vision that's here, which is an eternal relationship with a triune God that is living in relationship. I just love this stuff. And we're going to get into really some of the fruits. So Erin, thank you for all that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's get into this. The way that we're going to be exploring unique design, this unique design pillar that we have in the Academy, is first we want to talk about these 5 points of awareness. For each of our pillars, we've got 5 points of awareness. We'll go and define what those are, share those with you here. Next, we'll move into, okay, these 5 points. How do we start exploring these 5 points of awareness? So there's going to be some things that we teach you can do on your own, but also we're going to give you some insights to what we do in the Academy. From there, it's going to be, how do I... okay, so I grow in greater awareness, and the journey always starts at self-awareness here, folks. But I grow in awareness of these 5 points of awareness from my unique design. What can I do with these things? What are some practical things I can do? We'll kind of list through that. And then finally, how do I know that I'm succeeding in this? What are some of the fruits that I'll start to see in my life or that we've seen in other people's lives when they start to really lean in, name, claim, and tame these different points of awareness in their unique design? Because that's the stuff that's really exciting. I'll get into sharing a little bit of just the greatest news that I've ever received from any client recently as we started really going down this path of doing this unique design work. Stay tuned for that. It really was like, I liken it to the moment where in the movie Jerry Maguire, where Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character like gets the $11 million contract and he's just like, and just the joy that Jerry Maguire saw.
Yeah.
And his client just like getting it. He nailed it. He did it, Anyways, okay, we'll get into this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. 5 points of awareness for unique design. First point that we've got here. And again, the whole concept of these points of awareness is these are points of awareness that help you to discern. All right. Help you discern this unique design pillar. Guys, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Think Psalm 139 to really see how intentional God was in creating us. And whenever there's a design, there's a designer, and designers always have intention. So we explore these points of awareness in our unique design. They start to reveal the intention that God had with us. Certainly this intention for love, but also it starts to reveal even a little bit of that mission pillar.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. All right. Point number 1, contributions.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead.
I look at contributions as more, it's like what you were talking about, self-gift. It's like those areas that you naturally are self-gift
Yes.
in, because we could say like, these are talents, and yes, they are, but they're more of a result of a talent.
Okay.
So a talent shows up, like they indicate a talent.
Well, it indicates a gift also.
Yeah,
yes.
They indicate a gifted area of giftedness, an area of strength, but it's more so like the result of it. It's the act of kind of giving it.
Yes. So I like to think of your contributions as the mature expression of your talents or your strengths. Okay. Because your contributions by its very nature, it's not something that you're just contributing to yourself. You're contributing to other people. It's drawing you into relationships. So that's our first point there, contributions.
Yep. Weaknesses.
Number 2.
Yeah. Number 2, we have weaknesses. And weaknesses these are combinations of talent deficiency, so areas of limitations, areas of frustration, and they are also places of viciousness, like vice, areas where we may have like grown into even an overuse of our strength.
Yes.
Overuse or underuse of our strength, or some type of malice that's behind it a little bit, like this area that the Lord needs to breathe into and redeem us a little bit. So weaknesses kind of covers a lot of area here.
What I love about this, Aaron, is in the beginning, in the introduction, you spoke about how there's this thought we have that we have to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just not human. Right. And so getting in touch with your weaknesses helps you get in touch with your humanity and just allow yourself to be deficient in certain areas. For example, one of the areas that I know is that, and where I really lean on people is Aaron and I, yes, I'm a high learner. I love learning things. I can hold on to abstract concepts and we can distill them down. But when I'm around other people that really have an aptitude for learning and input and a great depth of knowledge, that's not really an area that I thrive in those spaces. And so I find myself just acknowledging that's a little bit of a weakness for me. But what it allows me to do is partner with some people that do have all the letters at the end of their name and they do have the doctorates and be able to draw from their expertise. And that builds relationship, right? And partnership. And there's a collaboration that's there. So that's an example for me.
And when you don't see it that way, it can easily turn into vice.
Yes.
Right. Like if you don't see it like, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be calling people in to strategically partner with me, or calling in the body of Christ who is talented and gifted in this area. When you don't do that, you can isolate, you can, blame people, you can judge people, you can you could go into overuse and even
I think
your
there's
talent.
a lot of self-condemnation that happens there. So there's a lot of judgments. Like I should be able to have all the doctorates.
Yeah.
But that's, again, like let's take the talents that the Lord has given to us. So that's the weakness one.
Yep.
Next one is our motivations.
Yep. These are things that they drive us, they engage us, they excite us, and these are the things that get us into action. I love motivations. I love finding out people's motivations, because there is something, like I would say as a coach, I guess if you could like name it, like I love, and I do think I have a talent in this area. People come in and they're like, I'm stuck and I hate my goal and I hate what I'm working towards. And like by the end of a session, I'm like, they're like excited. Like that is the common thing that they say, like, well, now I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
And all I've done is tapped into their motivations, these intrinsic motivations that kind of are within them. So it's so helpful to know your own motivations too.
Yeah, the unique ways that God designed you to get your dopamine hit. Once you start to know that, there's no excuse or there's no waiting on motivation anymore. You can start to generate it yourself. Okay. Next, the ideal conditions. All right. So the environments that really make it easy for you to show up in your contributions, stay motivated, partner in areas of weakness. It's really external, I'd say, environmental conditions, but also there's an interior ideal conditions here as well.
Yeah. Those interior and exterior ideal conditions for sure.
Cool. Okay. So that's ideal. That's point number 4. And then finally, point number 5 are the triggers that start to show up here.
And these are external and internal as well.
Yeah, these are the things that cause us to be reactive versus responsive. So it's an external environment, like Aaron just said, or even an internal emotional environment that all of a sudden it's just like it inclines us to respond in fear or out of some sort of a shame-driven response. And really the way that we show up is we start showing up in the vicious patterns that we see in our weaknesses. But we also don't show up in our contributions. And it tends to zap us of our motivation and really be disruptive to relationship here as well. So I love this element because this is even one of those points of awareness that we have in our battle, our unique battle pillar as well. Yep. We approach it and we use it a little bit differently when we're talking unique design and unique battle. But I love just the complementarity that we can draw from both those pillars. Cool. All right. So those are the 5 points of awareness to review that. We've got contributions, weaknesses, motivations, ideal conditions, and triggers. So now what we want to do is kind of explore, like, what are the different ways that we explore this so we can start to mine into and grow some insights on these 5 points of awareness of our unique design. Okay, cool. One of the first things I like to do, and I'm thinking in context of our academy here, and the new academy experience that we have is it's all about exploring the 3 pillars and discerning and engaging your 3 pillars, not just knowing what they are and growing aware, but actually putting them into use, putting them into action, and moving towards that mature Christian space of becoming a self-gift. So one of the things that I think of even in our Academy forum that you can explore your unique design is just engaging in conversation with people.
Can I add one more thing? Because this is new, actually.
Okay. Yeah, tell me.
I think the very first thing, if you come to our academy, even the free version, if you download our app,
get the basics,
which is available by the time that this will come out.
Yeah, just go to your app store and get it. Metanoia Catholic Academy app.
Metanoia Catholic Academy app. But the very first thing that we encourage people to do is to take an assessment to find out, okay, maybe which pillar I might need to be growing in. Really quick assessment, pretty simple. I mean, anybody can take it.
Yeah, take it right in the app.
But I think that's actually probably the first like tangible thing that they could do just to discover, where do I even start?
Yeah, got to put a pin in the map. Where are you at?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, but then now moving on.
But then we also have like a little course that kind of walks people through on how you start to explore some of these things and draw some insights into it and really understand what it is that we're exploring in the academy here. So that's at the basic level, but even at our core level where a lot of the conversations are taking place, there's going to be different questions that come out at our different discussion boards. Guys, when you start to engage with better questions, you start to get better answers. And that's what I love about the momentum of this community that we have in the academy. It's people that are asking those good questions that lead to the better answers and draw out a lot of these insights and these 5 points of awareness so that they're better equipped to really discern, Lord, how are you calling me to engage my unique design here today? So that's one of the first things.
Yeah.
I think even in the next level in the academy, in our Academy Plus, we're going to have these things called just unique design calls. And again, those calls that we have that are specific to the 3 pillars in Academy Plus are all about growing awareness, but also application of these things. And so that's getting into the practical way of what are some ways that we're exploring. We've got this thing called your unique design card where you can collect all of your insights that you're gaining through engaging on the post or your own examination of conscience at the end of the day, or insights that you have on a one-on-one coaching call or with a group coaching call, something like that, a workshop. When you just start to fill out that card, but that call is going to be specific to how you grow in awareness of the elements or your points of awareness of your unique design, but also in the application of it, whether it's being a better parent, showing up in your workplace better, how you volunteer, how you pray, so many things that we do from this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's also like a really helpful element to be doing this alongside of other people. We can do all this stuff by ourselves. We can do that. But there is something about even just speaking hey, I'm really good at this, like out loud to somebody else, and having somebody receive that with their human ears is just there. I can't explain it. I'm sure neurologically something happens. I have no idea, but there is something, it almost makes it a little more permanent. It makes it less abstract. It's like, now it's relational. And now that person knows, oh, you are really good at that. And maybe they say it back to you, but then also they go, hey, since you're really good at that, can you help me with this? Right. And now it's like starting to be incarnate. It's not even just like this idea in your head.
Yeah. I love it, Aaron. Like you can explore this stuff on your own, but it will not be the same as exploring it in a relationship. Again, like this is why we made the big change in our academy to make it more community based, because we realize in our own little, experiments that we did in these small micro communities, that is where it's in relationship, the context of relationship, where this all has deeper meaning and there's motivation, and it's delivered in love. Like it's to know these things is not enough. But to be affirmed and loved in these different points of awareness, man, it's absolutely transformative. It's healing. It's motivating. It's inspiring. Join us in the academy, you guys, and experience it for yourself. Okay. We've also just got some workshops that help people start to mine through this stuff on their own. So not everything is like you got to show up at a call at this certain time. But in the Academy Plus, we have some self-paced workshops and historic archives that you can really go and kind of continue to do some workshops, do it with your wife, your spouse, or something like that, to kind of not only learn a little bit more about yourself, but learn about a little bit more about other people.
Yeah, those workshops are really incredibly helpful. We've done them a number of times, like for students at colleges, and we did it for the soccer team here, and I remember the coach of the soccer team, we were like, how was that? Was that impactful at all? That workshop that we did? And he was like, we use that language all the time now. And and it was our first workshop that we'd ever done. It was like, so
good fruits. I
would say so C- work, not because we didn't put effort into it, but because it was the first time.
Yeah.
So anyway.
See, those are just some practical ways that you can start exploring it. But even like on a very simple level here, you guys, it's just even asking the questions, hey, what are my contributions? What are my motivations? What motivates me? When was the last time I felt motivated? What are the
what
environments?
What sustains me even?
Yes, and motivation.
Like what keeps me motivated? It's not just getting into action, but it's like actually like when I'm doing something that I like really hate doing, like, how do I continue to think about this? How do I continue to be motivated through this?
Yes.
Thank you for the tissue. I heard I was sniffling a lot in the last podcast.
In the mission podcast, it was just like,
I know.
Why are you sniffing?
I was sick. Okay,
so we were all sick.
Let's move on to the next section here.
Okay, I love this part because we start getting practical. Like,
what can we do?
I know these insights. So what? What can I do with this? And this is, guys, where I see this. One of them is find a job that fits. Okay. So maybe you're looking for a job or you're looking for some sort of a transition. And that's typically where one of the ways that I coach. I just find I really enjoy coaching people in that professional transition. And one of the things that I do is we explore these different points of awareness in their unique design. And guys, when you can start to explore the job market, knowing what you do best, knowing the environment and the management styles and the remote versus, on-site work, like based on where you're at. Maybe you're like being at home because you got lots of kids. Maybe you really don't want to be at home because you got lots of kids right now. You can really start to see yourself, not just like how you would you might execute, but how you would actually show up based on your unique design.
Yeah.
And I had a client recently that was looking for work, and it was really at a point in his life where he really needed to land something. And just through the conversations, through the exploring unique design, when an opportunity came up, and at first he looked at it and it was just like, I don't know if this is going to be a fit. But when we actually started to hold up literally the job description to his different points of awareness, and it was a unique design, we saw that like this really leverages your contributions really well. It's also an environment that leverages your motivations, your motivation profile really well. Arguably, it fits your ideal conditions, minimizes your triggers here, and allows you to really step into but also acknowledge where you're kind of weak and allow somebody else to take part in that. And it just looked like such a fit where when we started to really explore what it would be like and how he would execute each one of those job description points, he went into his interview and just crushed it. And I just found out last night that he actually got extended an offer, which he was just so happy. That was my Jerry Maguire moment. And I was just so happy for it, because I just love the idea of somebody going to work and not having to psych themselves up to go to work. That's where they're spending most of their time. That trickles back into your family life. When you spend your time doing things that drain you, then oftentimes you just don't have anything left to give to your family at that point. That's not how I see the Lord's vision for work. It's not a dignifying experience.
I'm going to go into the other one. I want to speak to this though. How to next level your job too.
Yeah, because it's not just find a new job.
Right. So, because maybe you're even like in the job that you love, but maybe you're spending a lot more time doing something that does drain you. I just recently had this revelation. I was working with my spiritual director on this, and she said, well, what if I was realizing that I like creating content. I know I'm good at creating content, but I was doing a lot of it, and it was incredibly draining. And I never admitted that. And I said it out loud to her. And I'm like, if you just gave me the opportunity to just sit in front of people and coach them all day long, I would be so energized. And she's like, well, what if you just didn't create anything new? I was like, I kind of laughed at it. I'm like, well, I mean, we have to do a podcast and, but I was like, maybe I don't need to create another new course or something, because that's really what was draining me. And it was just like, what? That's an option that I could just coach more, do the thing that I love to do more, and contribute in the way that I know that I'm best at contributing right now. It was just, it helped me kind of shift priorities a little bit, even within my job. But based off of something that you said too, Matt, it helps you find a job that fits, but also it helps if you're an employer to find somebody who fits that role that you need fit within your company. And I think that's another huge piece. I mean, we don't hire anyone unless they take a strengths test and MCode. We make people go through this stuff before they actually, before we actually hire them. There's no way we can see if they would fit us.
Yeah, because again, our culture, we ask a lot. There's a lot that needs to be done, and we want to invite people into a role where, again, they don't have to psych themselves up to do the role. They just kind of naturally fall into it. So,
well, and psyching yourself up too. I'm sorry, I do not want an employee having to do that, because nobody gets good fruits from that.
Yeah,
they don't. We don't get the best of them.
Yeah,
if they're psyching themselves up,
even if they're a great mission fit, it's just right person, wrong seat.
Yes.
They're just in the wrong seat here.
Yep. Okay. Amen.
The other area I think is really helpful is we talked about it before. You start to ditch the comparison game. When you start to understand your unique design, you don't spend your time comparing yourself to all these people that you're seeing on YouTube, because it's not a fair comparison. It's not apples to apples. It is like apples to, I can't think of a very
oranges.
Unique fruit, but you're your own unique fruit in this case. And so there really is no comparison. And so you know who you are. You start to know who you are. And I remember Rick Newton saying, the companies that are constantly comparing themselves and looking at what other people are doing in the market, they have an identity crisis at the core.
Yeah.
All right. And I think the same thing can be said for the individuals.
I have a story to support that too. I remember coaching a coach about this, and she was trained in a particular program that was like, basically just gave a lot of suggestions and was like, hey, you could do an event like this, da, 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 da. And I remember just saying like, well, how do you want to do it? Like, what's your way of doing it, of doing this event? Like, I'm not saying don't do the event. I think you should do the event, or it should be up to you whether or not you want to do it. But I said, okay, so what event would you want to go to? Like, how do you want to do it? And it was like, I mean, it seems like such a simple question, but it was complete freedom. Like, she was like, I didn't even know I had the option to like do it another way.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by saying like, there's not one right way. Always.
Yes. And when you ask yourself those questions and you start to know those elements, or I keep calling them elements, old language, those points of awareness of our unique design, you start to consider the way that you would go forward that leverages those areas of contribution and ideal environments and motivation for you. So it's this, you actually want to go. It doesn't become a burden or a task, but it's something that is just overflowing out of you at that point.
Yeah. Because the sanguine's way is going to look very different from the melancholic's way, and they're both going to be wonderful at the end of it.
The final thing that I think is super practical here is, guys, we constantly have people that are asking us for our time. Not saying we, Aaron and I, but all of us. We have constantly people that are coming and they're saying, hey, give your time to this, give your time to that, especially in the volunteer role. But you really start to guard your yes at this point, and you start to guard it for those things that really showcase your talents. And why? It's not about putting the spotlight on you. It's putting the spotlight on God. Okay. Those talents, you didn't generate them. They're gifts. And when you step into those things that, where you do best, you do what you do best, it gives great glory to God. And you know what? Not only that, but it really gives a 10x contribution to whoever you're supporting at that point as well, versus, stepping into an area of your weaknesses because there's nobody else to volunteer. And, guess what? Like you're taking the spot for somebody that maybe that's an area of strength for them, and you're in some ways you're boxing them out. I love reserving my yes for the things I do best, and reserving my no for the places that other people who do those things best are meant to show up. Right? Create space for other people. Okay. So finally, here as we move on to the final section, how do we know that we're succeeding in this growth of discerning and engaging this unique design pillar? One of the first things, Aaron, you brought it up already, is you start to find yourself adopting the language. You change the way that you speak. When we put our survey out saying, what's the biggest struggle you have with engaging your areas of talents? Number one response people got was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to communicate it. I don't have a language for it.
Yep.
And so this unique design exploration work, what it does is it actually gives you a language to clearly communicate to other people and even yourself what you do best. And now that you're consciously aware of it, because you have the language, when opportunities pop up to engage those contributions or gift those contributions, you're much more likely to say yes. And then you experience all the fulfillment and the meaning that comes with doing what God created you to glorify Him. Yeah.
And in a more like tangible way, also like it's really good for resume writing and job application writing.
Yeah. When I think of an interview, guys, like
job description writing, that's what I meant.
I love coaching people for how to show up in an interview, right? Because when you start to reflect on the way that you naturally show up or see stories from when you showed up in your contributions, like you want to highlight those and bring those to the employer that's interviewing, because the best indication of future performance is what you've done in the past. Another thing I think that's a fruit of this, mentioned before, you start to guard your yes. Guys, your yes, that's your will. It's the only thing that's yours. Really, our will is the only thing that is ours. And that yes, that fiat, man, it's powerful.
It helps us to be in integrity when we say yes, too. Like to be honest when we say yes. Because when we say yes, when we really mean no, it usually leads to resentment and then a disruption in that relationship, or a discord, if you will. I want to add one more thing to this. Yeah. I think it's when you start to know your unique design and start to live and engage in it, you have more energy.
Tell me more.
Well, going back to what I was saying before, you do more with less. Like you actually can conserve energy, but also you're like happy to give things. And so it's not just energy, but also generosity. You're like, you live in such a place of abundance and generosity when you're living in your unique design. And you've kind of stopped comparing yourself like, oh, I should be something that I'm not. You just have like, I don't know, it's like a greater what like reservoir of gift.
I love it, Erin. Like even the word you used, abundance.
Yeah.
Like when you have this, you've heard abundance mentality, but your contributions, your God-given contributions are like really, there's an endless supply of these things. Now we have to take in self-consideration, self-care, getting good sleep, and just having boundaries with these things, because we are not God. We're still finite human beings. And so, we need to take care of these things and steward them well. But I find when I'm living in my contributions, I have way more opportunity. I see and I find and I engage way more opportunities to be generous.
Yes.
There's a generosity that comes from the space, because it doesn't take something from you when you give this. There really is a well that you can return to.
But energy,
with
for sure.
Yep.
I would say energy is like the number one thing that a lot of moms probably want right now. So
moms, dads,
I'll tell you what,
across the board, priests, everything. Yeah.
Because you guys don't know like how much that I should be somebody else or there is one right way. That drains the ever living life out of you.
Yeah.
And then you're on Pinterest and you're like, oh, this person's doing this differently. I should probably do that. And it's like, well, no, none of this has to do with your natural contributions or your natural talents. Please stop wasting your time and energy doing that.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next point. This is another fruit that I see. You start, when you have something that you need to get done, you start to not just go to like, hey, what should I do? But you start to ask the questions, how would I leverage my contributions, or how would I leverage my natural motivations, or how would I create my ideal conditions to really get this done and remove as much friction from the process as possible?
Yeah, I'm going to add another one too.
Oh, of course.
I think because I'm thinking of ideal conditions and triggers and everything like that too. I think one area that you will know that you're growing in, you won't be asking for others to give you a gift from a place of resentment, or even just like as an ultimate, like, okay, I've hit my point that I now need to ask for help. Like asking for help becomes a lot easier, I think. And then you receive it more. You receive it graciously, which is how we're supposed to receive gifts, is to receive them graciously, not like in resistance and being like, I shouldn't have to ask you for help. Like, no, people want to give their gift.
Yeah. So like, say for example, even yesterday, all right, I just got done delivering a webinar, and webinars, I feel a lot of energy during them, and I'm also drained afterwards. Like I don't necessarily have these strong influence or talents, Clifton Strengths language. And so it's not that I have to psych myself up for it, but I do feel drained afterwards. And Erin wanted to, I got done, and she wanted to kind of explore and a little bit of, some concepts that were on her mind. And babe, I told you were so good, babe. I said, Erin, I love the idea of doing that, and I just need a half hour. Just need a half hour to have some lunch and just kind of sit in my ideal conditions a little bit, and then we can go right into it. And you gave me that space, and that was such a gift.
Yeah, and imagine if you didn't ask for that. Imagine if you felt ashamed of asking for that. Or if you felt like I was going to respond, but the way that you asked it, you weren't like, it wasn't like an explosion or anything like that. It was just knowing that you needed that and being compassionate towards yourself.
But just trusting that you would also honor that space. And like, this is where we can start to partner with other people. And kind of goes to the next point here is you can really be compassionate to other people.
Yes.
Right. Recognizing that you have these ideal conditions, these contributions, these weaknesses, triggers, everything. You start to, Galatians 6, bear other people's burdens patiently. And you can start to partner with them to create some of their ideal conditions and create some of their, motivating environments for them. That is so loving. Right. Be very considerate of the other person.
The consistent theme that we've heard people respond to us, especially in the temperaments world, but also with strengths too, is my marriage was transformed by this, by just knowing my spouses, like knowing their strengths, their weaknesses, and not because I'm going to hold it over them and, whatever, but like I can be more compassionate. But when couples do this together, it has that impact on their marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. So folks, that's it. That's what we got. So we talked about unique design, the unique design pillar. We talked about those 5 points of awareness of contributions, weaknesses, motivations, ideal conditions, and triggers. These are things that we help you explore in the academy, but we gave you some practical insights on how you can just kind of jumpstart and start to explore those things on your own. But you are not meant to do this alone. At the very least, just go and download the app. Right, it's in the App Store right now. You can go download it for free. You get into the basic access level of the academy. You'll see some different assessments that's in there. Our temperaments assessment is in there. And our temperaments report, this beautiful 27-page report that gives you a lot of insights on the common vices and contributions.
Which by the way, I'm sorry, like the temperaments report was $10 that we used to charge $10 for it.
Pulled it out of our store, and now it's just something it's available for free that you can get, and there's so many insights just from that alone that you can draw from it. We even have a sensory preference assessment that's in there as well. And periodically, I know Marty later on this month is actually going to be walking people through like how to get the most out of just reading that temperaments report. So again, we can help you draw out. That'll be a live call available at a free access level. Just kind of draw some insights into these 5 points of awareness of your unique design.
Yeah. So long story short, come and join us. Free Academy. Literally, it is free. Like you don't need to do anything. You just go download the app, Metanoia Catholic. That's METANOIA Catholic. Hopefully you guys know how to spell that. And that is the app. It looks like a little waypoint with a cross in the middle of the circle. So
it's a Eucharist in the middle.
Yes. So go download the app, join us in the free academy, take the assessments, start to discover this. If this has brought something up in you and you're like, I want to stop feeling so exhausted and I want to start doing more with less and all that, please come and join us. It's literally costs nothing.
Yeah. And I promise you, when you start to do this work, you're going to start getting really curious about other people. And that curiosity is a great place to be because that curiosity opens you to just receive the other person as they are and in the full mystery of what they are. And there's something I just love being able to enter into a relationship with people like that versus a presumption or some sort of a should or ideal that I have for them. No, I just want to receive that person. And so there's an opportunity. It's very easy once you're in the app to invite other people to come into that app, take that free temperance assessment, get that report, start drawing those insights, have some conversations on your own. Again, whether your relationship is with the people in our academy community or it's people that are in your own parish community or your own family, we grow and we understand these things in relationship. You're not meant to do it by yourself. And so let this just be an opportunity to enter deeper into relationship, coming to know yourself, but coming to know who you are before God as well and who you are before other members of the body of Christ.
Amen.
Cool.
The end.
Download the app. It'll be in the show notes, a link to get it as well. Cool. All right. We'll see you there. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.